Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to do the spring reading tag. So I was tagged by the wonderful Amy Jane Smith to do this ages ago when she first created it, and I've been very busy and not felt like filming, so I'm only just getting around to it now. But I have my questions written down, so yeah, let's get into it. So the first question is, what books are you most excited to read over the next few months? So I wrote these answers down ages ago when I got tagged, and I've actually read one of them already. One is The Raqqa Diaries, and that's the one I've already read, and I just really wanted to get to it because it was so important to me to understand what's going on over in Syria. And you know, we only get like half the news. It's really hard to get into like those areas and see what's actually going on, but it is still really important that we stay aware of like what's happening to other people around the world. So there's that one, but I've already read it, so we'll talk about that in my April wrap up. Also, I've got written down The Good Immigrant, which I've been reading for ages, but I'm finding it like, I mean, it's quite like a difficult read as a privileged white girl to read about all these experiences that other people have in this country, and I didn't realise were happening. I'm very ignorant, and I didn't realise that I was ignorant to these things. But that's the whole point, is learning about these things and educating myself. And yeah, so I'm about halfway through that. I'm just reading like one of the essays every now and then, which is why it's taken me a while to get through it. But I don't want to rush through it because I want to take it all in properly. So those were the two that I had written down. I already read one of those. What else? What am I looking forward to reading? I am looking forward to reading Little Nothing, which was the second book that I got in my March Moth box. I read the other one, 100 Shadows, which I spoke about in my March wrap-up, which should be posted by now. And yeah, I really can't wait to get to it, especially from hearing Mercedes' review of it, because she said it's quite fast-paced. And I know that normally she's not really, well, she said on her channel that she's not really into fast-paced, plot-heavy books, but she really enjoyed this one, so, like, it must be good. Yeah, there are a ton of books I'm excited to get to, but those are the ones that, like, spring to mind. The second question is, what book most makes you think of spring for whatever reason? I'm not sure why, but The Girls by Emma Cline, I think it's because I read it in spring, because I read a NetGalley of it before it came out. It came out in the June, I think, last year, and I really enjoyed it, and it was just something that like sort of like kicked me back into my reading after quite a little slump. And it very much has summer vibes in it, so I have no idea why it reminds me of spring, other than the fact it must be because that's when I read it. The Ocean at the End of the Lane is another one that reminds me of spring. No idea why. I don't think there's much spring imagery in it. I can't really remember, it was a while ago when I read it. But that one also reminds me of spring. I'm not very good at these questions. Question 3 is, the days are getting longer, what's the longest book that you've read? I couldn't think of this one at first, and then I was going through my books. I sent quite a few books home because I don't really have the room for them here, and I was going through them because I was like, do you know what, I'm moving into an even smaller place next year, so I need to be a bit harsh and get rid of some. And as I was going through, I saw the longest book that I've probably read, and it was A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have the second one, A Clash of Kings, that I've been intending to read for a while. I haven't had the opportunity to. I read A Game of Thrones in, not one sitting, obviously, that would be ridiculous, but in one go. It was the only book I was reading at the time, and it was when I went on holiday to Kefalonia with my parents and my little sister, and there was not a lot for me to do there, so I literally just sat in the shade, because I'm not a big fan of getting sunburnt, with this massive book, and read it in about a week, which is very fast for me to read something that big. Question 4 is, what books would you recommend to brighten someone's day? I would always say things like the BFG really make me happy. So like any Roald Dahl basically. Even like The Witches makes me happy, and that's not a particularly happy story. Harry Potter, obviously, especially the earlier ones, they are quite like happy stories and like very nostalgic. The guinea pig books that I've spoken about, hang on, I have one of them here and I showed it in my March wrap up, but these, they cheer me up a lot because they're just silly. They're just, you know, like just taking a classic story and making it silly by dressing up little guinea pigs. So those, I have that one, I have the Pride and Prejudice one, and I think they have another one, and I can't remember which story it is, but they do definitely have another one. Yeah, those, and The Lie Tree made me very happy. And it's not very, like, I'm not really into, like, happy stories, so it's not a very happy story, but it's like a children's/YA novel that I read last year and was one of the best novels I read last year. It was one of my favourites. And I passed it on to my little sister straight away, and I got given the illustrated version of it for Christmas, which, like, I'm excited to read because I love Chris Riddell's illustrations. It's not a happy story. It's about a girl who's trying to work out the mystery of her own father's death. So it's not exactly a jolly story, but the way that the female characters were written and portrayed throughout this book made me happy. It's very feminist for like a children's, well, I say it's very feminist for a children's story. I think comparing to the sort of things I read when I was that age group, it made me happy that these kind of stories exist for young children to see. And yeah, that was a really long answer. Sorry about that. Question 5 is, spring brings new life in nature. Think up a book that doesn't exist but you wish you did. So one that I have to agree with Amy on is she was saying about like a book about disability but in the style of The Good Immigrant. So from people's own perspectives, from like in an essay format, so short essays from different people, different walks of life, but focusing on disability rather than immigration. And I completely agree with that, and I would love to like maybe be involved in something like that in the future. Obviously not right now, very, like, yeah, but you know, that's kind of like my aim, is I want to create, like help create, like I'm not a writer, I'm much more like on the like editing side of things with my mind, but I would love to help create like books like that, and maybe even like some that are aimed at younger audiences, because I think when you get older you sort of learn about these kind of things anyway, just through life experience, but I have already mentioned in this video I'm quite ignorant to things, and it wasn't until like a couple of years ago I was diagnosed with chronic illness, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but it wasn't until then that I started really caring is not the right word, but like noticing, acknowledging other people's issues, because you just naturally do. I think when you go through things like that you sort of pick up on other people's stuff. But anyway, so yeah, something like that would be great. Also, relating this back to Harry Potter, I think that a lot of people want to hear more about like the Marauders, so like James, Sirius, Wormtail, whatever his Peter Pettigrew, that's his name, and Remus Lupin. I love Remus Lupin and I love Sirius Black, and I think they're great characters. But what I'm interested in is like what is going on with Petunia and Lily, and why are they so different? I know that one of them has magic and the other one doesn't, but they're brought up the same way. I want to know what's going on there and why like there's so much like hatred from Petunia's side, or even if it is real hatred, or if she like, I don't know. I just want to know what's going on there. I would love to like know about that. And also, they were brought up in a Muggle environment, so it'd be pretty cool to see. Because when Harry discovers his magic, he's suddenly surrounded by all these like magical people that are totally like cool with it already because they've grown up with it. I would love to see like the family's reaction to Lily's magic and her going to Hogwarts. And I don't know, I'm talking about this too much, but that I would like to see. Question 6 is, spring is also a time of growth. Has your reading changed over the years? Yes, I'm a much more active reader now. Like, I actively will go, I really want to read something. Oh my god, let me look through all my books. And I enjoy like having books as possessions. Like, I've always owned books. Like, my dad's quite a reader, and we've always, like, that's always been a thing in our family, to have a bookshelf in our bedroom with our own books on. But I'm much more like into like the way the books feel and like what they look like and who's published them. And obviously that comes with like the fact that I take publishing at uni and I'm more like, I don't know, more aware of these sort of things, or more into these things now. But I'm a way more active reader as well, in the fact that I would much rather buy from like independent publishers and bookshops than Amazon. And you know, I'll buy from secondhand bookshops because they're charity shops mainly. But yeah, like, I'm more active with where my money goes, if that makes sense. I think that I enjoy reading more, but I've slowed down with my reading pace, and I don't know if those two things are related, but yeah, that's how my reading has changed over the years. Question 7 is, we're a couple of months into the new year. Yeah, we are right now. It's April. How's your reading going so far? Right, okay, not great, but not the worst. So I'm still like trying to actively read, like I'm still like picking up books, but I've had some stuff go on, and I've said before on this channel, like, when I have stressful things going on, I don't read that much because I like to enjoy what I'm doing, and if I'm feeling depressed and I try and force myself to do things, I'm not going to enjoy that activity. But no, it's going fine. Like, I'm quite busy with uni as well, so that's another thing that like is getting in my way of how much I would like to read. But I'm still reading enough. Like, I'm not hating reading, so it's going fine. The last question is question 8. Any plans that you're looking forward to over the next few months? So, I cannot wait to finish this year of uni. I'm also moving to Bristol, which was like a decision that I made within like the space of 10 minutes, which sounds really stupid, but I'll explain. So, I have to like move again because at the moment I'm living on campus, but this room is not for me next year because I'm not priority. Priority is new people, first years, and they've only just let me stay here because the room was available and I needed it, which is cool. So now I'm going to be moving to Bristol because there's people who also go to this uni that needed one more person to live with them, and I was like, well, I'm one person, I need somewhere to live, and the housing situation here in Bath is just atrocious right now. So I was like, why not? It takes less time to get here than from my old flat, and it's a new place to go and explore and have my own memories and make my own like memories, yeah, by myself. So I'm doing that. I'm very, very excited. I've recently been to see my sister in Cornwall. She's recently moved there, and we are all going for like a little family holiday in July, which will be great because my brother doesn't actually live in the country. He lives somewhere else. He goes to uni somewhere else, and he is coming back, and I haven't personally seen him since not Christmas just gone, but the Christmas before. So it will have been 2.5 years, no, a year and a half. Whoa. A year and a half since I've seen my brother. I got to hang out with him. So he's coming, my little sister's coming. We haven't had a family like holiday in quite a number of years, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. So yeah, and I'm hoping to go to Edinburgh in August for the International Book Fair, but I don't know, I've got to see what my funding's going to be like. But I have things to look forward to, and the first one is finishing this uni year, because it's been crazy and I can't wait. But yeah, so that's all the questions. Thank you, Amy, for tagging me in this tag. I'm going to just tag anyone who wants to do it, because by this point you've probably either already been tagged and done it, or, you know, like I just, if you want to do it, do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.